I have some breaking news for you right now. Some upcoming Ford F-150 pickup trucks will now have less horsepower. Us truck guys, we love horsepower, so what's going on here? In this video, I'm going to share all the details we have so far, and I've done a lot of research on this topic. I'm talking specifically about 2026 Ford F-150 models with the 3.5-liter twin-turbo V6. Of course, Ford calls it the EcoBoost. And also, this relates to the F-150 hybrid, which Ford calls the Power Boost, which is some of our favorite powertrains that we've had recently for testing at TFL Truck. So I first kind of stumbled into this, checking the specifications a couple days ago on Ford.com. And so I was looking at 2025 numbers versus 2026. And here's what I noticed. Here's just an example of that Ford.com page I was looking at. And since 2021, the 3.5-liter EcoBoost has had 400 horsepower. We all knew this, and I love numbers, so that number is always in my head. And that number matches the 5-liter V8 Coyote engine. So both of them produce 400 horsepower, and a customer can choose. You could choose, do you want a V8 engine with no turbochargers for about the same horsepower, or do you want more low-end torque, actually a lot of low-end torque in a twin-turbo V6, but also the same horsepower, and they cost approximately the same when you're buying an F-150. But now I flipped the page over to 2026 pickup trucks, and I noticed immediately that the 3.5 EcoBoost V6 is now rated at 382 horsepower. So it lost 18 horsepower, which is not a lot, but still significant. And also the Power Boost full hybrid V6 on their website went from 430 horsepower for 2025 to now 420 horsepower in 2026. So it lost 10 horsepower there. By the way, the torque ratings are not affected. The EcoBoost 3.5 still at 500 horsepower. 500 pound-feet of torque, and that full hybrid is still at 570 pound-feet of torque, which is monstrous torque there. So what's going on? So I started doing research. I reached out to Ford. So I'll share every detail I have so far. I also spoke to some industry experts, some of our friends in the industry, about what's going on. By the way, this power change and this change does not affect the 2.7 EcoBoost, does not affect any F-150 Raptor high-output engines. This is specifically the 3.5 F-150 lineup, which is one of their more popular engines, actually, and also the hybrid, which is becoming more and more popular. I think Ford is aiming to sell about 125,000 hybrid F-150 trucks this year. That number is approximate. So what's going on? So on the next slide, I can show you what could be the big culprit here. And this is a gasoline particulate filter, or GPF. So this may be familiar to you if you've been driving a turbo diesel pickup truck since about 2007 in the United States, because diesel particulate filters have been regulated for emissions, potentially since 07, 08 in most pickup trucks. And they became, of course, mandatory since then for emissions reasons. Basically, particulate matter or soot that comes out of the engine's exhaust, some of those particulates can get trapped into this filter, thus cleaning up the exhaust of that engine. And also, periodically, that filter has to be cleaned out. There's a regeneration process, or regen, where the engine drops a little bit more fuel, heats up that filter, burns all those particulates with really hot temperatures, and kind of blows it out in the exhaust. So basically, effectively cleaning up some of those particulates and cleaning up the emissions. And really, I believe this is not a national requirement for gasoline particulate filters on these direct injected turbocharged high performance engines, but really it's driven by CARB, or California Air Resource Board. But it's not just California, because total of 17 states in the US now follow the same CARB emissions regulations. So if you want to be successful selling pickup trucks or any vehicle, and you want to follow those emissions regulations, those 17 states, comprise about 44% approximately of United States population, so almost half. So this is a humongous deal. So I do not have an official statement from Ford yet. I reached out to them, don't have it at the time of this video. But like I said, I spoke to several industry experts, and what I've gathered is that gasoline particulate filters have been around in European vehicles, direct injected gasoline vehicles, since the late 2010s. So really, if you live in Europe, this is nothing new. Here's a list on this slide of those 17 CARB states, including Colorado, that's where we're based, Connecticut, Delaware, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Minnesota, Nevada, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Vermont, Virginia, and Washington, and also DC, District of Columbia. And Virginia, I believe, is currently working to maybe exit this list, but that's to be continued. Basically, gasoline particulate filters are nothing new in Europe. They've had more strict regulations there. And also for 2025, Ford introduced a GPF, a gas particulate filter, in their 2-liter EcoBoost turbo 4-cylinder Ford Maverick pickup trucks. So there's precedent here. So Ford introduced it in the Maverick, and now for 2026 model year, it's starting into the F-150, which basically is even a more better seller for Ford. So this is a trend now. And of course, the big, huge question is, what's going to happen to some other twin turbo engines or high performance turbocharged gas engines from Toyota, Ram, General Motors, and many others? We'll have to wait and see what happens there. So I wanted to show you what's happening. How does this new 3.5 compare to its competition now? Because it's kind of been the trendsetter, and it's also kind of the OG of twin turbo engines and pickup trucks, because this engine first came out in 2011 model year. Can you believe that? Almost 15 years ago in an F-150. And it's been updated several times. And the latest version of it came out really in like 2021 model year timeframe with 400 horsepower. But if it now includes this particulate filter, there's a little bit more back pressure. So it will lose some horsepower. So 382 horsepower at 6,000 RPM. And it's now less than the Tundra twin turbo, that by about 7 horsepower. And it's also significantly less than the new 3-liter twin turbo straight 6 Hurricane from Ram. But Ford still has the upper hand on torque, really the torquiest V6 out of the bunch at 500 pound-feet. And now, as far as the hybrids are concerned, there is also a small decrease in the Ford system to 420, and the Toyota hybrid currently is at 437 horsepower. And the torque remains the same. Toyota has a slight upper hand. But really, these hybrid trucks that I'm a huge fan of, they're really, really powerful. And specifically, the truck I used to own, 2021 F-150 hybrid with the same power boost system, which I loved and I've done so many videos with, was one of the quickest trucks that we've had for a while. It was beating a lot of V8 trucks. It was beating some electric pickup trucks even. I mean, this is a really powerful solution that also provides export power. So, of course, all these are continuing to go on sale, but I just wanted to show you how it compares against those Ram trucks and also Toyota trucks. And us pickup trucks guys and also gals, we sometimes love those big billboard numbers. I have the most horsepower, or I have the most torque. So these numbers may not be felt by the driver, but nonetheless, it's important. And also, it introduces some complexity to the system, right? You're introducing another filter, another way to clean it out. What if there's an issue there? Potentially, you're also using more fuel. If you need to add additional fuel to that filter to regen and burn up all those particulates and kind of blow them out, you're using additional fuel. So it could hit your efficiency, economy of your engine as well. So that's really a bummer in my opinion. But what's going on here is, why is Ford doing this now? So I think one of the big reasons could be CARB, C-A-R-B regulations. Another reason could be that the 3.5 EcoBoost is actually it's an older design. I know it's been upgraded and updated through the years, but it's really one of the older designs of this type of engine. And will this hit Ram, their latest 3-liter EcoBoost? Hurricane. That's to be seen, because that's using the latest technologies, the latest learnings of turbocharged engines, and something similar for Tundra, because the Tundra engine came out in 2022 model year. The Ram engine came out in 2025 model year. So that remains to be seen. Well, let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think about this? Check out tfltruck.com, also oldtfl.com for all the latest news. I have this story also there on the website. And I'm a little bit bummed by this, but we still need to get the official statement from Ford, and also where this engine will be sold, this new 3.5 with GPF. Is it only in the 17 states we mentioned, or is it across the country? And how come, are these power ratings actually correct? I mean, they're on Ford.com, so it's coming from the source, really. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And let me know if you actually see in that 2026 F-150 with a 3.5 or that hybrid system with the new filter, because I haven't seen one yet. They're not on sale quite yet. I checked several dealerships in my area in Colorado. Obviously, I don't live in Michigan, near, closer to the factories. But let me know if you've driven one or if you've seen one. And looked underneath it, checked it out, etc., etc. So thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.